don't know if I'm ever going to put makeup back on for another video as long as I live. We'll see. Kind of enjoyed being lazy about the makeup thing lately. I know this is not a wine story time. This is me just trying to be real. And I think that's why I don't want to wear makeup for this video, because if I put makeup on, I'm putting on a face and I'm putting on a front, and because I'm not somebody who wears makeup regularly. So I just honestly feel like I want to sit down and have a conversation. I'm in my comfy clothes. I have at least showered and brushed my hair, but rosacea fully on blast. So if you make comments about my rosacea at this point, my incurable skin condition, you're just an asshole. So let's talk a little bit about how I'm feeling about stuff right now. The beginning of this year obviously was very difficult, to say the least. I was facing a lot of really weird things in my life. I had obviously lost Cosmo, which was kind of the biggest piece of my life. I was dealing with raising a puppy and dealing with a lot of mental health problems. Plus, oddly enough, the death of Betty White was really jarring for me, if only just because, one, she's always been a massive idol in my life, but also she was the last living cast member, main cast member, I should say. There is one more recurring cast member that is still alive from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And if you guys don't know my adoration for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, there is a video on my channel back when Mary Tyler Moore passed away, talking about how important that show was to me as a kid. And we're actually, my family, my parents and I are actually rewatching it right now. We're in the final season, and we started watching it shortly before Betty White died. And so I felt like it was really fitting. And throughout the course of 2021, we lost 3 of those cast members. We lost Murray, we lost Lou, and we lost Sue Ann. So it just, I don't know, like for some reason that hit me really hard. And it's been really difficult for me to find happiness this year. This year has been really hard for me to find joy. And that's helped me really reevaluate a few things in my life. And so I want to express how I'm feeling. That's where I'm at. So let's talk about this channel. As you guys may have noticed, this year the content of my channel has been really different for a few reasons. One, I did the beginning of the year cleaning, which I've never actually done all of it before. I know I did my clothes one year, and I had done my books, and I had gotten rid of like half of my books at that point. I got rid of less this time, but I never actually edited or uploaded some of those videos where I had gone through my books and a couple of other things around the house to try and just get rid of certain things that I had gotten from those, like I said, those book sales that I talked about in that video. And every single video aside from that, I've not been wearing makeup. I am coming to a very difficult crossroad in my life right now when it comes to my goals, especially to become a full-time creative. And I mean, ultimately, my dream would be to marry a man who is, or at least get into a serious relationship where I'm living with the man who is willing to allow me, I mean, that's such a weird way to say it, but I mean, if he's going to be the breadwinner of the house, then it is quite literally allow me, I guess. Not that I need permission from anybody to do whatever the hell I want to do, but you get what I mean. That would have enough financial backing for me to quit my job and to be a full-time creative. I mean, that would be my ultimate goal, but I don't want that, really. At the end of the day, I really want to make it as my own person, and I want to be a full-time creative. Like, that's always been my goal in life, ever since I first stepped onto a stage. Really, the first time that I first started thinking about becoming an actor was when I was 13. Actually, I was technically 12, but I digress. My birthday was pretty much right then. So for all intents and purposes, I was 13, though technically my age was 12 at the time. Anyway, that was when I first started thinking about becoming an actor, when I did Cinderella. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, when I was in 7th grade. And that was my first kind of moment in my life where I was like, this is what I want out of my life. This is what I want to do. I want to touch people the way that I've been touched by art. And that has evolved over the years. You know, I want to be an actor. That's all I wanted to do, was be an actor. Until I got to college and I learned more about filmmaking, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a director and I want to act. And then I got back into writing, which writing I never thought of personally. I never thought of me ever doing anything publishing wise. I just liked writing. Like, that was just something that I enjoyed doing. It was just something fun that I wanted to do. And then there's the visual arts, which I'm still on the fence of whether or not I would ever actually sell prints of the kinds of art that I like to do. But that's still a consideration, you know? And so my goals have changed over the years. And when I started doing YouTube, when I actually started doing YouTube, I was still in college, on the original channel that I was on. And when I started really focusing on this channel was 2010. It was the semester after it was right after I had basically dropped out for 10 years. Because I moved down here in the summer of 2009. So, and then January 1st of 2010 was when I started vlogging, making a new video every single day, for 1 full year. And I think one of those videos actually got deleted at one point. I deleted it by accident, but I'm actually really glad because it was extremely fat phobic. I hadn't come to terms with my internalized fat phobia yet. It would be many years before I would do that. But I started doing YouTube at a very different time in my life. I was in my early 20s. I was mid 20s when I really started focusing on YouTube. When I finally thought, when at one point I thought that YouTube would be a great vehicle for me to move into a full-time creative realm. Since when I first moved here, I was not getting auditions, or I would go on auditions, I would get all kinds of auditions, but I never booked anything as an actor down here. Because down here it's definitely who you know and stuff like that, and it's definitely very cliquey down here as far as acting is concerned, and I needed a creative outlet, and I came to this idea that maybe YouTube would be a good way for me to start achieving my goals, right? I mean, YouTube has seen me through some of the worst times of my life. It saw me through the abuse that I was dealing with at PetSmart, at the same time as dealing with the nonsense that the first nonsense that GeekCon put me through. There's been so much. And then, so the 2012 plus the anime community, all of that was all going on at the same time. So 2012, 2013, you know, it saw me through my grandmother's death. It saw me through Cosmo's death. Like, it has seen me through some of the worst times of my life. And I have met some of the most incredible people, some of my best friends, while doing this thing on YouTube. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. I love YouTube. I love what I'm doing here, but when you have a goal and one of those things is not panning out the way that you thought it would, and it's taking a lot of your time and energy to do. You know, I spend a couple of hours filming because I film multiple videos at one time, usually. And I spend even more hours, many more hours editing. I mean, editing even a 20-minute video will take me an hour. because I care about my editing. I care about how I edit and what I do. I may not be the best editor in the world, because I know there are a lot of other YouTubers that have a lot more know-how of how to use those kinds of features, and I just never cared to learn like the super intricate stuff. But I still care very deeply about what I edit and how I edit and what the final product looks like. And I will spend on one video alone, you know, sometimes 3-4 hours on just one video. And I have been doing, since October of 2018, I have been doing at least one video a week for that amount of time. That's a lot of time to be spending on something that is clearly a hobby, which I have no problem with people obviously having hobbies. Everybody needs a hobby. You shouldn't be just working. You should have a hobby, something that you enjoy doing. However, there are other hobbies in my life that I feel like need to take priority right now, because they are things that could help me achieve my goal one day of being a full-time creative. Finishing my books. I'm working on 3. I have 2 finished first drafts, and I'm working on a 3rd first draft because I can't stay focused on one project at a time. I promised myself, though, after this first draft, no more first drafts until I have actually gotten one of my manuscripts to publishing level. So, and then figuring out what I want to do after that, if I want to go traditional, hybrid, or self-publish. That's a big conversation that I will have with myself later. But finishing that, or looking at possible artwork that I can do, that I can create prints and sell on Etsy. You know, things like that, where I can actually start gaining my ability, or going out on hikes and taking photographs with this camera that is constantly on this tripod, constantly attached to this microphone and to this ring light, where I could be taking really nice, cool, professional grade photographs with my freaking mirrorless camera. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm at a place where I'm wondering, genuinely wondering, if YouTube should be a priority right now. And if it shouldn't be a priority, what should I do? You know, should I abandon my vlogging channel and just vlog on this channel? Should I not have a set schedule and just make videos when I feel like making videos? Do I stop uploading edited content and just live stream on Saturdays? I don't know. I am at a place where I'm really trying to figure out what makes me feel the most comfortable, because I want this channel to remain viable, because that's one of the things I have against it. Was when I took 2 pretty substantially long breaks from doing YouTube. One after all the drama took place in the anime community, and then the other one was when I lost my partnership. Those were were substantially long breaks I needed. I'm not saying that I shouldn't have taken them. I'm just saying that they were substantially long breaks and they killed my channel. Aside from the drama also killed my channel, but aside from that, the breaks killed my channel. Because if you guys don't know how the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't consistently upload, the algorithm won't push your videos, and the algorithm already doesn't push my videos, so I don't know why I worry about that. But I don't want to set myself up for failure either. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's frustrating. And I've been having a lot more fun doing TikTok content, because I feel like that doesn't have to be as polished. Like, I think that's another reason why I'm not so afraid to sit in front of this camera again without makeup on, because I don't wear makeup in my TikTok videos. I can be more, I don't know, myself, I guess. I can be more real. I don't have to put on this persona of this person that I have pretended to be all these years. I mean, it is who I used to be. I mean, I used to be really bubbly. I used to be really animated. I used to be really just out there and outgoing and loud and obnoxious. That's who I always have been. And I just kept on that persona, that personality. in my videos. And I mean, whenever, that's why I like to sit down. I think I've talked about this before, where I like to sit down and actually have something in my hand, like eating or drinking something, because I feel like I can actually have a conversation where I can actually be who I am, and this is who I really am, right? I'm a more subdued person. I mean, in my mid 30s, for God's sakes, you know what I mean? Like I'm a more subdued person. I've grown up a lot since I first started doing YouTube. I don't have that high of a voice anymore. And I appreciate that person. I appreciate that person for starting to do YouTube. I appreciate that person for the work that she put in to doing videos. Were they all good videos? No. Were some of them very problematic? Yes. Have those videos either been deleted or privated? 100%. Any video that I go back on and I'm like, this is not who I want the world to see anymore, I have privated those videos or I've deleted them. The only video I've actually deleted was the one I named Bam, and it was just me talking about how I used to be fat. And now me being the size I used to be before I lost all my weight, now I look back at that and go, huh, you were a terrible person, Skinny Britt. And that's just because Skinny Britt had a lot of fat phobia and still felt like shit about herself because she had, and still to this day, I still do have body dysmorphia, and it's getting better. The concept of my body dysmorphia is getting better now that I'm working on my internalized fat phobia and stuff like that, but I digress. But at the end of the day, things are just changing in my life where, and what really hit me was when I got more followers on TikTok after doing TikToks for less than 2 years than I do on YouTube after doing YouTube since 2010 regularly on this channel. I think when I started doing videos on this channel, I had less than 100 subscribers. When I first started doing like the 2010 video every day, I had less than 100 subscribers, and I now have something over just over 1,300. And I now have more followers on TikTok than I do on my YouTube channel. Where my YouTube channel, I will spend hours on one video, where on TikTok, I'll literally film a video and post it. Like, I'm at a place where I'm wondering, is YouTube worth it? Do I enjoy doing it? For the most part, yes. Is it fun? Sometimes. Am I enjoying the content that I'm putting out? Sometimes. I don't know. I'm feeling like there was a shift. There was a major shift in my life. I mean, obviously all of our lives shifted over the last 2 years, but there's been a major shift in my life. And I think it all comes down to, the shift itself comes down to the day Cosmo died and my life fell apart. Digging myself out of that hole was very difficult. And I came out of it a very different person. I started thinking about the idea of changing the concept of my YouTube channel before he died. But since he died, I genuinely don't enjoy it anymore. Or at least for the most part, I don't enjoy it anymore. I enjoy doing the cleaning out my life thing, but that's just because that's something that I do every year anyway. And this time I just created it as content for my channel. Except for the anime video. The anime video was really, really difficult for me to get through. Which is weird. I dissociated through the whole thing. And then the second I stopped filming, I sat down on my couch and I dissociated. Like I full dissociated. So I dissociated to the point maybe I depersonalized everything. So I went through depersonalization through the course of the whole video. I stopped filming, sat down on my couch, and I completely dissociated. Like my brain just went, nope, shut off completely. I was just a shell of a person for like an hour, with my whole couch just filled with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. And when I came out of that, I was so exhausted. I didn't know if I could actually process enough to actually alphabetize everything and put it all away again. I did. I luckily was able to do it. But the aftermath of that video took me about 3 hours to finally actually complete putting everything away. My movies, my books, the books was a whole different concept because that I actually had to reorganize everything in different categories and whatnot. But honestly, it was bad, y'all. It was bad. That was the only one that I genuinely did not enjoy doing. And I luckily will never have to do it again because what I am keeping, unless I actually watch certain things I haven't watched yet and decide I don't like them. But as it stands right now, the only thing I'm going to get rid of at this point is Project Arms when I actually buy the full series. So there's that. But I never have to go through my anime again because I know what I'm keeping is what I want. So, anyway. Everything else feels like I'm just forcing it at this point. And I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel like I'm genuinely adding value. And I just don't think I do. A lot of people might follow me now because of the Power Rangers content, which obviously I still genuinely love Power Rangers. I'm still collecting Lightning figures as I want to and stuff. And I'm collecting the DVDs as I can. But ever since it left Netflix, I've lost the burn for it, I guess. I'm watching not Beast Morphers, that was last season. I'm watching Dino Fury as it comes out. I'm caught up with where we're at in Dino Fury, so that's great. But I've enjoyed not making videos about it. I've enjoyed not being caught up in one single community. Because that was the other thing too, was it scared me to put all my eggs into one community again. Put all of my eggs in one basket and only belong to one community. I didn't want that. My channel used to be like that with anime and manga, and that destroyed my entire life. And when I say it destroyed my entire life, I'm not exaggerating. Yes, it destroyed my YouTube channel, but it also destroyed my entire life. To be part of that community destroyed my life. And will I always be thankful for the friends that I do still have that came from it? 100%. I am always grateful for that. I will always be grateful for some of the experiences that I did have, the good ones that I did have. But being part of the anime community on YouTube destroyed my life. And I know that sounds extremely dramatic, but it's not. It is something that I deal with every day. Every day I am faced with stuff. Unless I got rid of my entire anime collection, got rid of everything that was anime at all that I can look at, all of the art, all of the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the pop figures, the VHS tapes, everything. If I got rid of everything, I would not be faced with what happened to me back then. But I would also be less happy because those things bring me joy, genuinely remind me of great things, like the VHS tapes of DBZ, of Vancouver dub that Kaio-chan sent me. Those bring me so much joy. The art box, like the Gundam Wing Blu-ray set came in. Dylan and Kay got together and they bought that for me. And that genuinely brings me joy. There are so many things about anime that still, to this day, bring me joy. I need to fix my framing because I sat differently and now it's bothering me. Oh, I'm going to fall and die. That's going to happen, I promise. Still, those things still do bring me joy, but they also remind me of everything that I went through. And it sucks. And I wish that the people... Framing is still really bad. And I wish the people that were responsible for what happened to me would actually be held accountable. Especially the one that does still make YouTube videos regularly and is very popular on this app, website, however you watch it. But the problem is he never will be. And even if people started trying to hold him accountable, he wouldn't take responsibility. And that really sucks. And besides, like, he's so popular that if I actually said who it was, for real, who it was, people wouldn't believe me. Then they would just victim blame me for being a terrible person, I'm sure, because that's exactly what would happen. It just sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks to be reminded of those things all the time. So the idea of getting involved with one community again scared me a lot, which is why I dialed back on the Power Rangers content. A lot. Because I was scared of being part of even just one community. Because even though that community has always treated me very well, that community has always been really great to me, I also know there's some toxic stuff going on in that community too. Specifically, people who are like battling between Power Rangers and Super Sentai, which I think is just ridiculous. Stop. They're both solid shows. They're both good shows. Just let them exist in the worlds that they exist in. It still scared me to be part of just one community again. Because even though I love talking about geeky things, as my intro used to say, because that's the thing too, is I have to switch up my intro, because I don't know if I'm going to talk about geeky things anymore. If this channel remains as edited content, I may not talk about geeky things all the time anymore. I don't know. I'm at a really weird crossroad in my life where I'm reprioritizing things and starting to wonder if YouTube really needs to take priority. Does it? I don't know. I have no idea if YouTube needs to take priority at this point. I genuinely don't know. So, I am just at a place where I'm hurting a lot because this has been such a staple thing in my life for 12 years, and now I'm wondering if it's worth continuing. I genuinely want to continue, but I also genuinely don't. I am so ambivalent about it. I don't know if it just means I need to take a break. So maybe that's what I do. Maybe I just genuinely just take a break from edited content and just either vlog, which is edited content, but a lot quicker and easier for me to edit on this channel, or just do live streams for a little while just to keep my channel like viable as I reevaluate. Because the thing too is when I vlog, I'm just slowly making content throughout the day, you know, or if I live stream, it's just 2 hours of my life that I can just get on and stream and call it a day. You know? I don't know. So maybe some insight in what you guys think I should maybe think about doing. I know that I'm going to do a big bunch of videos here. Today I'm going to do 2 cooking videos. I'm going to do a Sims video. I'm doing this video. So that's 4 videos that I'm going to slowly edit throughout the week and put up. And hopefully by the time those videos run out, I'll have an idea of what I want to do going forward. I'm at a place where I just don't know anymore. I'm just confused and sad. I mean, obviously I'm still grieving. Like, that's never going to stop. I will grieve for the rest of my life, and I know that. The grief just gets easier to bear the further away you are with the amount of new memories you have. That's the only real difference. I just wonder if this is worth it anymore. If it's worth the time and the energy and the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making every single video. When all that time it could be spent writing, or could be spent painting, or could be spent working on the podcast that I'm starting with my friends. All things that are possibly viable options to assist me in getting to my goal. Things that could potentially make me money. And again, not that it's about the money. I'm not that kind of capitalist, but I'm not a capitalist at all, really. But you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, if I want to be a full-time creative, I have to do creative things that are going to make me money. That's just the way the world works. And YouTube just isn't a viable source of that anymore. And I know that unless I became just famous in some other way, YouTube probably will never be a viable option for me. There's no, surprising, like, viral video that just makes a channel explode like there used to be. And that's where, a lot of frustration comes. And I know there are some people that share my videos, but the only way to help a creator is to share their content. And I don't feel like that happens for me. I don't feel like I have the support of the people who enjoy my content because comments have disappeared. Likes still happen, but comments disappeared. People don't comment on my videos anymore. Not really. And I don't think people are sharing my content. And that's also really disheartening. I see shares all the time on my TikToks, and I see people supporting me there. I don't get the same level of support here. And that's also really hard for me to face because at the end of the day, one of my biggest issues with my mental health is that I'm nobody's first choice ever. And so I genuinely don't think people like me. That's a really hard thing to say out loud. I've said it out loud many times, but not ever that I know of that I can remember on a public platform. But I genuinely don't feel like people like me. And so when that is validated by the fact that I don't get views anymore, and the comments don't appear like they used to, and people don't share my content, it makes doing this a lot less enjoyable. It just does. It is the way it is, And I hate to admit that because that makes me sound so egotistical and vain. But again, when your ultimate goal is to be a full-time creative, social media is a huge part of that. I share my content every week on my Twitter. There have been a couple that I've missed from scheduling tweets, but for the most part, I share every single video out onto Twitter. There's no engagement out there. There is nothing that drives traffic here. And so that's really disheartening when you know that in order to be a full-time creative, you need to have a social media background. One of the big reasons I don't get jobs now as an actor is because I don't have a good social media following, which is why I've been working very hard to increase my social media following, which means I need to prioritize what social medias are viable and which ones are not. And this one just doesn't seem viable to me anymore. I know the right thing to do is to take a step back. I know that's the right thing to do. I know that I could be spending those hours, like I said, writing, painting, or going out and taking pictures, or doing something that would viably make me more money so that I could eventually become a full-time creative. And at that point, YouTube could be a viable option as a hobby, and I have no problem with that. Again, I have no problem with people having hobbies. You need to have a hobby. But right now, if I'm going to be spending time doing a hobby, I need to be spending time doing a hobby that will help me achieve my goal of becoming a full-time creative. So I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, if you want me to stick around, you need to support me as well. I mean, some of that, I don't want to put blame on anybody but myself for my channel failing. It's clear that I'm not talking about engaging things, and I switch up my content constantly because I gain different interests and I decide, you know what, I'd rather do this instead of that. I get that, but at the end of the day, it's helpful if there's engagement and there's support. And the best way to support a creative person, if you don't want to spend money on helping them achieve their goals, then sharing their content is what does it. And I just don't feel like I have that kind of support from people on YouTube. And so if you want me to stick around, engage with my content, engage with my social media, share my stuff, share my content with somebody that might be interested. That's all I have to say. I don't know. I'm at a severe loss right now, and I'm sure things I said is going to upset people, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, I have to do what's right for me. And I feel like being honest is what needs to happen for me right now. For me to reevaluate what it is I'm doing. And what it is that I want to do going forward. Most of my YouTube friends no longer really make YouTube content. Dylan streams now. Matt stopped making content a long time ago. Kyle Chan just started getting back into making content. Melissa makes content maybe every once in a while. Kay, streams most of the time now. My community is gone. I'm the only one really left. And I'm feeling really lonely. And I think that there's just better communities for me elsewhere. So if the content goes away, just understand it had to for my own mental health, and it had to make way for bigger and better things in my life. To help me become a happier person. And I hope that you'll still be here when I come back, if that happens. But I can't be afraid of the algorithm. I can't be afraid of what's going to happen next. And if I really want to be a full-time creative, I have to put the work in. And I have to put the work in the places that make sense to put the work in. And YouTube just isn't that anymore. I guess maybe that is one of the reasons why I drink. Bye.